Today we have a lot of stuff to talk about. This has been a very, very strange week for me. I don't know about you guys. Braden, how has it been?
Think the last take kind of sums up how the day's been so far.
Oh yeah, yeah. Second take. it's been. It's like you said. It's like one of those days that just doesn't feel real. Yeah, I feel that. I wish I was like Lou, laying on a furred blanket in the air conditioning, got water over there. I wish I can just relax like him. This is some bullshit because yeah, but there's a few things that I want to talk about today. I had some very interesting discussions with a few people that I am familiar with. One of them is a close friend, and he's actually going to be coming on the pod hopefully soon, which is going to be a fucking shit show. Okay. Good though. Good though. He's one of those people that we can actually discuss and come to a middle ground and have an understanding. Like bicker back and forth like brothers, have an understanding, and come to the realization like there is a middle ground, or there is substance to what you're saying. There are some people that you cannot do that with. I'm learning that there are a lot of people out here, Braden, that you cannot have intellectual conversations with. Their mind piece only goes so far.
Yeah, yeah. I work with some people like that, and
It's
it's
insane.
frustrating.
It doesn't make any sense. I'm very confused, but it's also like I wonder at what stages do you have to go through for like your mental accessibility to go to one level to another? Is it like Dragon Ball Z stages?
I mean, that's highly dependent on the person,
I
right?
never like I've never thought about it though,
Yeah. Like
because
how
because education doesn't make you
smart.
right.
Yeah.
Like you can learn, anyone can learn anything.
Mm.
But I think it's the willingness of your brain accepting it and making sense of it. So like are there stages?
Or if they're even willing to go through the time and effort to learn whatever it is, because like me personally, like if there's something that I want to do, I am one of those people that will take my entire week, month, whatever, and learn it
Right.
because I want to learn it.
Right.
But I think, and that also contributes to the overall knowledge that I have. So if there's many things that I like to do, then they kind of all work together in some sort of way that makes it easier to have conversations with people. If they talk about something that maybe is a little obscure, there's probably a better chance of me knowing what they're talking about. But I just don't think a lot of people are willing to um, spend their precious time doing that. They'd much rather just be relaxing or even just going out or just being alone and scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, whatever, on their phone,
Right.
which is, perfectly fine if that's what you choose to do. But I just think,
Doom scrolling.
yeah, doom scroll, you can eat bad food, kind of just be exist,
I
which
do I
is
do that a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
really.
I doom scroll a lot because I try to like I try to escape from certain realities.
See, I do that as well, but maybe just not in the same way.
Yeah, no. I need something very, very stupid
Uh,
to do so my brain isn't operating how it is normally.
See, I couldn't do that. That would that would absolutely not be optimal for me. Which is weird because you would think like, wouldn't it be the same for everybody? Because we all have a brain, and we all kind of have like generally
Yeah.
the same idea. But like,
I think there's levels to it though, man. There's levels to it. Because I use social media and scroll through to see silly stuff because I know some of the stuff I would never do.
it's like
Like
that
I mean,
doesn't appeal to me at all. Like I
I think
would
that's just hilarious.
like I just like I could literally care less about what somebody else is doing because like my life is hard enough. Why do I care about them doing something?
Oh, I mean like the funny shit.
But even still, like I
You just
don't.
wouldn't
I
oh,
just
okay.
doesn't really like. Every once in a while, like someone will send me something, but I don't go
Yeah.
searching for it. Like
Oh,
yeah.
I see what you
So
mean.
like
Yeah.
it is funny like if they send me something and I look at it, but like I'm not gonna. I would much rather like spend that time. Well, I also have a plan on where I want to be to. So maybe that contributes to like the drive of
Yeah.
wanting to do and not do certain things.
I
So
mean, that makes perfect sense. Because majority of the stuff that I think about or talk about on a daily basis is most of political stocks, Bloomberg. What is my daughter going to eat today? You know what I mean? Trying to keep Madison and Seven fed. What is Louis going to do? What bills do I need to pay?
yeah.
Who do I need to talk to today? Who do I not need to talk to?
Mm.
Got to do this, got to do that. And then most of it is the political aspects of the world, like new stuff that's happening that I like take interest in. Also been checking for why can I not think? Why do I always have brain farts? Peter
Who?
Peter
What does he do?
he's a professor. Not Peter. I can't even think of his name, and I have his book in the drawer right there. I was just reading it last night. We talk about him all the time.
You're talking about Jordan Peterson?
Jordan Peterson. Jesus. My brain, that's how tired I am. I haven't slept. I haven't had a decent sleep schedule for like the last 2 months. I'm running on like 3 hours of sleep. Like I actually wanted a beer. Next episode, I'm gonna have a beer because I need to wake up, bro. I want to be a little more loose. My brain is like wired in like 6 different ways. But um, to get back on topic, there are some people that you cannot have in-depth conversations with because they don't want to hear your point of view. And I think when people talk about politics, they misunderstand a lot of it, right? They want to choose between a republic or you're Republican or democracy, you're a Democrat. It's it's literally a democratic republic. it's it's literally both.
A
It's
real one,
it's
not
a
the
real
Chinese
one,
one.
not the shitty ones. It's a
Yeah.
real one, right? It's to literally separate yourself from monarchies and dictatorships. So you need Republicans to have Democrats, and you need Democrats to have Republicans, and you need every other party to make people feel inclusive. That which, if people were serious about politics or any type of political views, I think they would put more interest into other parties more than Democrat and Republican that's already been ran for X amount of years that have a controlling interest and also gets investment from multiple corporations and CPACs. That's my thing. I keep telling this. I am extremely bipartisan. I do not think the Democratic Party or the Republican Party are any different. The only thing that separates them is the ideologies of getting to the same goal: control, power, and money. It's the same goal. It's the same bird with different side wings. That's it. That's now you can have your discretion on what the end goal
Mhm.
for each party, which each party is, which is a whole nother thing within itself. But I brought this up because I had a discussion with an old high school classmate of mine. And if you follow me on any type of social media, you probably see us talking and arguing on there a lot because our political views are so opposite. A friend of mine, Jules, probably jumps in. I mean, there's a lot of bickering back and forth. A lot of people don't like what's being said. But the posts are like, there's some posts that have like 50, 60 comments. Like there's so many posts that it gets mixed up that you can't even go to where the conversation started. That's how many.
That's frustrating.
It is frustrating. I hate the way Facebook does that because it makes it seem like people are deleting messages. And it's misleading because you can only see one part of the conversation and people are jumping in at the wrong time like, well, you took that the wrong way. That's not what the discussion was about. But anyway, I was having a conversation with this kid and we were talking about the viewpoints. Well, one conversation we were talking about the viewpoints from a white standing and a black standing of how we like view the which is fine, right? Because everyone has their own preference of how their political views affect them throughout their lives, which me and him pretty much have the same views, but we had a different view when it came to the statues.
Being taken down?
being taken down and putting back up. I asked him clear as day. I said, "You think it's okay that they're putting these statues back up?" What do you think his answer was?
So after they took him down, they decided to put him back up?
They're Pete, what's his name? Pete Hegsworth, right? The Secretary of Defense, um, is talking about putting the Robert E. Lee, the Stonewall Jackson, and a few of the monuments that were taken down back up. And he's also talking about naming the bases that was named after Confederate um, generals, giving those names back. Now, I understand that our history, the American history, is a very, very uh, fickle thing due to the fact of how sensitive it is for a lot of people in this country. We have to understand, like, my grandmother was around for slavery. My grandmother, she's still alive. My great grandmother and her mother was an actual slave. So we're not talking 200 years ago. Like, we're literally talking 3 generations ago. 90 years. Right? So there are still people, and for people to say, "Oh, racism doesn't exist," or that's not true. The same people who owned slaves, some of them are still alive. They're alive, they're alive. And they're teaching their kids. They are, yeah, Johnny, not don't go. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't sit. The point is we were having this discussion, and I asked him days like I understand that it was taken down doing BLM. They didn't have the rights. They didn't go through the proper channels to take it down. They protested and tore it down, and that was that. And the previous administration was wrong for letting that happen. They were wrong for letting people go out and destroy public property. Right? They should have went through the right channels to get it taken down. We want to petition that this be taken down because of this reason. Take it to court, have it done the right way so no one can say anything, right? So, but the fact that it was taken down and they kind of left it down until the new administration came in, and now this administration is saying that they want to put them back up, it's kind of like, what the fuck? Why? Just leave them down. Why would you change the name? And then I think people were saying, oh, it's history. That's fine. Put it in the museum. That's like Germany, which is illegal, by the way. I think it's illegal in Germany. There's certain things that you can and cannot do. That's like Germany saying, "Oh, we're gonna leave the statue of Hitler up and just let it be there." You can't do that. Like, even if your relatives were a part of that movement, the sensitivity, the nature of that situation is so sensitive. You know what I mean? It wouldn't make any sense to leave that up. So when you're talking about statues that were put up in spite of the dysfunction of communities during a Jim Crow era, that's extremely sensitive. And then down south, it's down south, right? Like, that's sensitive. So I asked him about it, and I said, "Well, don't you think they should just leave the statues up?" And he goes into this whole thing, which he was right. Robert E. Lee was a hero in the Spanish and Mexican War, the Alamo. He did a lot. He was an amazing general. Not taking it away from him, right? Like, he has extreme major wins and battles that he did throughout the years, but he did fight on on the Confederate side due to where he was from, and that's one of the main reasons why he went back home. Um, like, that statue, I'm not really a fan of. And then he brought up the example of saying, if George Washington owned slaves. Abraham Lincoln, fuck them too. I don't care what it would like. I don't think any of that was right during the times, right? I think it was all shady business, right? If we were able to take down all the statues, obviously that's not a thing. But if we were, I would be all for it. But that would never happen, right? Spoils go to the victor, right? So even though the North predominantly didn't have a lot of slaves, there were still injustices that was done to people of color as far as discrimination. I was watching Abby Phillips talk about on CNN with, I forget her name. I think it's Julian. I forget her name, but she's in the media right now. It's Julian something. I forget her last name. I'll figure it out. But she actually said she was trying to justify the notion that there was only a small percentage of people who owned slaves. And they justify that as saying, oh, not every white person owned slaves. Okay, that's fair, right? Because having slaves was a rich person thing. You had to have money to own slaves. And it's just like nowadays, there's only a small group of people who actually own it, 2%. But we're not, like, I don't think people understand, like, it's not just about the owning of slaves. It was also the racial divide that happened during that time, leading up to the years, right? So, like, when I say middle ground, I feel like there are some things that we should just know as wrong. Like, I wish the conceptual stands as far as like understanding the divide between people in this nation. It's like, yeah, this bad shit happened. Let's acknowledge that this happened and let's move forward. Let's figure out a way that we can close that gap and move forward. To sit here and say, like, oh, it wasn't that bad, or oh, you guys bring this up all the time, you should just not talk about it. If that's the fucking case, tell Jewish people to stop talking about the Holocaust. Let's fucking forget about 9/11. Fuck it, right? Like, less people died anyway. No, that's you can't do that. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. And I'm only saying this because me and this person had a discussion. And all I wanted him to say is, oh, yeah, the statues are fucked up. They should just take them down. They should have just left them down. But he was trying to make an example of saying why they should put them back up. That was my problem, right? Like, there should be a middle understanding in what we're discussing, because it's not about the people themselves, right? Because the history is your history. If your family was a general, I don't care what side he was on. If he was a general, that says a lot. You have a lot of history in your family, good or bad. It's history. That's your family. I respect it. Understand what that means, right? Like, you don't have to be, you aren't your family, but do understand that they were on the wrong side of history. They lost. If the Confederates won, I'm pretty sure the conversation would be completely different. Clearly, I wouldn't be here right now. And the Confederate flag would be all over the United States right now. That would just be it would be a distant dystopia of something different that happened. But that's not the reality. The reality is that the people who wanted to own slaves lost, right? So trying to justify, or having even the news try to justify why these statues should be up and not answer simple questions to find like a middle ground is insane to me. I just and I can't have a conversation with you, right? Like, if I sit here and have a conversation with a conservative and I know that my views are leaning towards more Democrat, but I'm like I'm a Democrat conservative. Like, I have very conservative views when it comes to certain things. But if if I can sit here and say, yeah, there was some shit that Obama did that was pretty fucking sketchy. Like, there's some things that he did that was crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I had to look at it like, damn, like, this man is really a politician. The way he's moving, right? Like, he's like every other president. He's the same exact way as every other president. I can agree with you upon that, right? Like, I can have that discussion and say, yes, that's fucking shady. Like, I don't look at Obama like he was the best president of my time because I'm not dead yet, but as of right now, in my mind, he was the closest to being the best president. Didn't care for Bill. Um, Dick Cheney was probably one of my favorites. I know people are like, Dick Cheney wasn't fucking president. Yes, he was, bro. Because it wasn't fucking Bush. Dick Cheney is the one who started the executive orders, baby. He said, fuck Bush. That guy is an idiot. he took, bro, he talk about moving like a gangster. Dick Cheney shot somebody in the face, bro, and had that man apologize to him. That's gangster shit. That is, Brady, could you imagine shooting somebody in the face and having them apologize? I stepped in the way. After this is one of the guys that disagreed with his executive order missions. He said, you shouldn't have this power. You're only the vice president. You shouldn't have this authority or have this authority to take over when something tragic happens. Shot in the face.
Wow. Wow.
Survived while they were quail hunting. Survived. Right? He didn't get arrested. The cops never came. One of his secretaries came up. I read the story. One of his secretaries came up and says, "You shot him in the face." He said, "He'll be all right." He gets in his gets in his car. They call the ambulance and they rushed the guy to the hospital, and that was it. And then told his secretary, "I want him to give a statement apologizing that he stepped in the way of the gun," and he did. There's footage, bro. You can put it up if you want. If you can find the footage, the guy gets up there and apologizes to the vice president for stepping in the way of his shot. That's, I mean, if that's gangster, come on, that's gangster shit, bro. If you don't think that's like gangster, I don't know. I don't know what else. That is like, wow, right? So when I say like one of my favorites is, and it's not even because of what he did, it's just how he moved. It was how he moved. He moved in silence. People didn't even know he was the one making all the choices. That's how crazy that is. But yeah, there just needs to be a middle ground, right? There just needs to be like an understanding. And I think that I told myself that I needed to not interact with people like this anymore because, like I said before on my Instagram, that there's no reasonable conversation that comes out of this that benefits anyone. It doesn't benefit me. It doesn't benefit him. It only brings animosity. It brings a strong dislike, and it doesn't bring anything to the viewers for them to take away from it. The whole point of these discussions is to give the viewers something that they can think about without being on one side. You don't have to pick a side. You can come to critical decision making and pick whatever is best for you for your political views. That's the point of having discussions. That's the point of listening. There is no right or wrong. And I think nowadays that people are actually going back and forth and thinking that there is a right and wrong. That's crazy to me. Politics is politics, right? We are considering what's right and wrong as a collective whole, Democrat or Republican. The fact that I think the media is like dissecting, you have to pick one side or the other, is absolutely nonsense. That's crazy. I can have democratic views and still be a conservative. I can care about people's feelings and still want to save the most money as possible. Like, what are we saying? I can want a house in the country and still not care what gay people or trans people do with their lives. Pro life and not caring about the homeless? What the fuck are we like what are we talking about, right? Like, you want to save an embryo, but you hate when people don't have parents to raise them and they go to um orphanages their entire lives and get kicked out of a system, and then have one side take away all the government funding that help children in need to go to school to these places, become homeless. Now you're looking at them, oh, you're a waste of life. You're a piece of shit because you don't have it. You're lazy. Bro. The mother wanted to get rid of it from the beginning, and you wouldn't let her. That person wouldn't exist if you see what I'm saying. So like, it doesn't have to be one way or another, right? We can all come to a mutual understanding if a conversation can be had, and you have to be open to understanding. It cannot be one view. I'll give you a prime example. I don't like the police. Period. I do not care for officers. That doesn't mean I don't respect officers. I don't have to like someone to respect them. I respect the officer for the job that they do. They do keep people safe. They do help when they're called upon. My reality is just I have a different aspect of them due to how I grew up, the areas I grew up in, areas that they policed, you know what I mean, and prejudged people who lived in these areas due to the actions of the people themselves. But hey, that's just the reality. That's just the reality of the game. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But I have respect for officers. When I talk to an officer, I can have a dignified conversation without liking them, right? It doesn't have to be like life is not one way. Two things can be true at once. Shit, 10 things can be true at once. It doesn't have to be a yes or no. Sometimes there is gray area. Sometimes there has to be flexibility. And for the simple fact that this man didn't straight out tell me like this is wrong or couldn't even bring himself to actually say it says a lot for me. Right? And I kind of have to leave it alone. I think there's always extremes. I think Barack Obama was the most extreme thing that has happened in the last 50 years. Him being the first black president in the United States. And this was only how many years after Martin Luther King? 65. This is what? 35 years. No. No.
Four.
55 years. Like yeah, almost 60 years. 65,
It's like closer to 50.
50 years, yeah. 20, 25, 30. Well, yeah, it's close. Yeah, okay, close to 50. You're right. So that's a short period of time in retrospect. There's some people who were alive during Martin Luther King that actually saw his dream come true, right? And I think that's an extreme thing for most people to reconcile with, especially people who are still on the racial end. But I think that when we saw this, we thought America changed. We thought that, oh, you know what I mean? Like people actually are starting to accept us. They're trying to understand. Maybe we can get to a point where we can have these discussions. And then I realized when this administration hit the office that the pendulum swung from the left to the far right. Because there is no way people let me tell you this. Do you know that there are presidential quotes that's going to be recorded in history that we all go by or look back onto, right? Like famous quotes that, that we always consider good quotes to look back on for the betterment of people. Like, for example, a JFK quote, right? Let me see. What is a good JF?
Doesn't he say, "Don't ask what you can do for your," or "Don't ask what you can do for"? Wait, it's like, let me think. Hold on. Don't ask what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country.
Yes. That's a beautiful quote. Or quotes like, let us never negotiate out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate. I mean, simplistic, obviously, but good nonetheless. Reagan had a bunch of them. He was good at that. Nixon had a few. Abraham Lincoln had some. Thomas Jefferson. Imagine Donald Trump's quotes.
Even the picture of him holding his fist up after he got shot, that is like, if
That
you can put a quote on top of that picture, that would be like, that's a front of like a history book.
That is going to be one of the biggest. That is going to be one of the biggest things in his administration prior to what he's doing as the president. But that right there is going to be the biggest thing.
Like I can actually see that being on like
Yeah.
new printings of history
Yep. Of a
books.
history book in school. 1000%. I mean, I think you're absolutely right. I think it's going to be. But his quotes, like we can agree, like his quotes are insane.
Out of context, they're really not.
Insane. Like if I wasn't alive during this period of time and I was a kid reading this, I'd be like, what the fuck is he talking? Like, what are you talking about? I can't imagine what quotes they're going to use. They're going to have to fix them. They're going to have. I don't think they're going to use his actual quotes. There's no way.
There's got to be at least one in there somewhere that he said that is pretty quotable. There's got to be at least one. I mean, you could say "Make America Great Again." That's a quote.
I mean, this is one. So we will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again, and we will make America great again. He sounded like a rapper. He was rapping. He was rapping. I mean, he already got the felonies. He might as well come out with an album. I would listen to it. But no, that's all jokes. Here's another one. As your president, I will do everything in my power to protect our LGBTQ citizens from the violence and oppression of the hateful foreign ideologies. I can't believe he actually said that.
I was gonna say, didn't he just like appeal to the Supreme Court
Yes,
to
he did.
take away gay marriage?
Yes, he did. Now, do I think a lot of these quotes are like? He also said, they're never going to put this in there. He said, "Everything in life is luck." That's they're never going to. I actually don't have a bad hairline.
That's a good quote.
That's fucking crazy. Like, what are we talking about?
That'd be a good quote for the iconic picture.
Yeah. Here's another one. He says, "People were shocked when they found out that I'm a Protestant. I'm Presbyterian, and I go to church. I love God. I love my church." I guess these aren't.
They're not as good as some of the
No,
other ones.
they're not. I don't like losers. Like I'm gonna laugh. Like if my kid comes home with this book and I'll go through these quotes, I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna be like, this is unbelievable. But it's like that right there, right? That's the point that I'm trying to make. Like, I don't care if it's a dislike or a like for a certain party. There can be an understanding that these quotes are insane. You don't have to say, "Oh, he's brilliant." I think when so look, prime example. I don't even watch CNN no more, right? I either watch Bloomberg, which is they're extremely bipartisan on a lot of the things, and it's only really about numbers, right? They only talk about the numbers and like what's happening with like the stock market, what's happening with the job market, what's happening with like the worldwide market as far as oil, gas prices, consumerism. That's the stuff they talk about. They talk about the entire world and the financial problems and woes that we actually have. The only station that I tune into now is Fox News. I don't care what CNN has to say anymore. And it's not because they're not right. It's not that they're doing their actual job in journalism. I just think that they are hyper focused too much on Donald Trump doing wrong instead of actually giving him some type of credit that there are some things that are working right now. I'm not going to say they're going to work in the future, but as of right now, this shit's working. You have to give credit where credit is due, right? Like I don't think everything that he's doing is failing. I think the exaggeration is crazy to me. And that was another discussion I was having with James, and we're going to have that same discussion when he comes on this pod. But I watched CNN, and I mean, not CNN, but Fox News. I watched Fox News specifically for the reason because some of the shit that they talk about and the dick writing that they do. Oh my God. You would have thought those news anchors was riding a mechanical bull. Because there is no way in hell. Not only are they promoting the president in sales, because he came out with a book called Art of the Deal. You know that the book sale jumped in sales.
when he announced the tariffs.
Nah. So there's buzzwords that media uses to get people attention. 'Cause obviously, most people aren't like tuned in. They kind of use it for background noise, or they see one thing that they want to see and they turn it off. But there's buzzwords. And they always say, "Our president, master negotiator, knows the art of the deal." And it's like, bro, why would you? The art of the deal? That's his fucking job. He's the president. He's supposed to negotiate. You're saying it like this is a new thing, right? Like this isn't. I don't like that when people make it seem like he's doing something brand new. No, this is his job, right? Like, oh, he just spent 20 hours coming back from Alaska back to DC. That's his job. And that plane has a bed with a chef.
Probably doesn't spend that long on it anyways.
He's sleep. He's working around the clock. He's sleep, bro. He's on that plane. He went into that room and went to fucking sleep. Like you're not. I don't care what you're not telling me anything. He didn't stay up on that plane for 20 hours.
That sounds really cool though.
Yeah,
Just like being able to have your own plane and fall asleep
it's fucking amazing.
and then wake up with like good food.
Vince did it. Vince, yeah, Vince. I'm calling. Yeah, I hope you see this too because that's fucking amazing. He sent me pictures, but he sent me pictures while he was on the plane. I was so jealous. He's
Sounds
also
cool.
going to be on here too. I cannot wait to talk to that fucking guy. He has some stories, but like that's his job. Like right, like I'm not going to. That's like people like I want people to applaud me for being a father. That's my job. Like I have a like she didn't ask to be here. My daughter didn't ask to be here. She didn't say, hey, dad, I need you to, you know what I mean? Like, nah, that's my responsibility as a father to take care, to handle my responsibility. So, as the president of the United States, and he's handling business, I applaud him for that. You're doing what you're supposed to do. I just don't like how Fox News is DRing. I'm not going to say it for the viewers, but they're DRing, right? Like, it's like the truth of fiction. That's one of the biggest things. But I think I'm going to talk about that on the next pod. But it's just like be forthcoming about a lot of the stuff that you guys are covering because I feel like there's some things that they say that they know isn't true, and they still say it anyways.
Like confidently.
Yeah, and they say it. They say it as it. Jesse Waters. I fucking hate Jesse Water. His face pisses me off.
What does he do?
He is. Oh, he's extremely condescending and pompous. He carries himself like his shit don't stink, bro. The way he carries himself is extremely bothering to me. It's the ignorance. Like I remember he had one show when he was up there. He said he was talking to the guy, the comedian. I think we talked about this before, but he was talking to the one guy, and he goes, "Maybe this is what he does. Maybe we should be more like the blacks." Maybe we should be more like the blacks and, adopt the word. And obviously, I understand that they were joking. And the comedian goes, "Yeah, maybe we should just say, 'What's up, my Nazi?'" Like if you guys get that reference, that's like when Brady, you can bleep this out. When black people be like, "Oh, what's up, my nigga?" Yeah, beep that out.
We're
He'd be
not
like,
bleeping that out.
"Oh," he's not gonna be. But he'd be like, "Yo, what's up, my nigga?" But he was saying it in terms of saying like, "Oh, what's up, my Nazi? How you doing, my Nazi? What's going?" And I was just sitting there watching, amazed. Like, there's no way in hell that this isn't that they don't know that this is offensive. Whatever, that's fine. It was a joke. It was actually a funny joke. I actually thought it was pretty funny.
If you
But
laughed, then I guess that's probably like
yeah,
the.
I thought it was funny.
If you didn't laugh, then it probably
No,
wouldn't be something that.
because that's extremely sensitive to say on air.
I mean, you could say anything you want as long as it's funny. If it's not funny, then that's whenever it becomes a problem.
Funny to who? There it is. I think as people we need to be very very careful about how we put certain information out because some people aren't taking it as that. They're taking it serious, right? Like I had a discussion with my friend James and he was telling me, "Oh, when are you going to learn how to get past his showmanship?" And my question was, how is it possible that people can accept his showmanship or his exaggeration, but criticize every other single president? It seems like criticizing this president is like a no no. Like you can't do it. Like you're not allowed to. And if you do, you're done. Or if it isn't to the likings, you're done. I just don't see how that's like for example, I'll give you another example. We were talking about the drug prices for pharmaceuticals. He said, "Oh, we're gonna cut pharmaceuticals 1,200, 1,300, 1,400, even 1,500%. Impossible. You can't do it. Because if I cut it 1,500%, that means that pharmaceutical companies are going to pay me to take the drug. I don't see Big Pharma losing that type of money.
Why would they? You know, if
When
they.
have they ever? The same pharmaceutical company that came out with the painkillers came out with the Suboxone. The same fucking company. So not only did they give you the drug to get addicted to, they said, "Hey, let's get them off of it. We're gonna come up with a drug to wean them off and make money on both ends." That is insane. I don't know. There is a show um that I watched, and it was about a family that owned a pharmaceutical company, but he made a deal. I'm not going to say with the devil. I don't know what it was. He made a deal with someone very powerful, and the deal was basically saying like, um, "I'll give you all the money and power, and you'll never go to jail." But what was the deal? But he said as soon as you have children, each one of them are going to die after a certain amount of time on Earth, and they agreed to the deal. And I think the story is mimicked after Edgar Allan Poe. It's gonna bother me now. It was a good show. It was a really good show. I loved it. If any guys you can, if you can watch that show, what was Let me see. Give me 1 second. Let me see. It was a seven. Oh, The Fall of the House of Usher. It was that isn't. You should watch it. That's an amazing show. You can watch. So I binge watch shows. I'll spend like an entire day for like 7 hours and watch the entire thing. But it is an amazing show. It's a horror drama. It's following the CEO of a corrupt pharmaceutical company who faces his past when his children start dying mysteriously. He has a painkiller company. It's fictionalized retelling on the origins of the aftermath of the opioid crisis, focusing on the Sackler family of the Purdue Pharma's role in creating highly addictive drug OxyContin. And this series includes fictionalized characters representing the victims of the opioid crisis. It's a great It was a great show, and I thought it was like amazingly done. But it also has like riveting facts from Edgar Allan Poe. So I thought it was real good how that artist did that. But so like that, it reminds me of that, right? Like you can't sit out here and throw out certain numbers that Big Pharma did not approve or did not say. Like words mean things, right? So like if you tell a person something on air and these people are believing it, what do you do when it's false? Because I mean, one of the one things that I don't want, and I'll wrap it up here. One of the one things I don't want is stuff to be said now for it to backfire on this administration in the next 2 years and they backtrack. Because I mean, because I want some of the stuff that he's saying to be true. Like I want to be able to get a job again. I got fired. I mean, I think that's why we started the podcast. I had a job in 8 months.
Has it really been that? It hasn't been that long.
No, I'm exaggerating. It's been like
It's pretty
5
close
months.
though.
It's getting there. I've been surviving off of scraps. Help me. Please, I'm poor. I need $1, sir. I mean, subscribe to the Patreon.
We just need $1
We
from
just need
100,000 people.
we need a $1 from 100,000 people. GoFundMe, please. And you know, we worked for a good place. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how I'm gonna feed Lou in the next 2 weeks. It's a joke, people. It's a bad joke. Okay, Lou's fine. Trust me. But yeah, yeah. So this discussion goes out to the people who cannot have a discussion cohesively and just come to a mutual understanding that it does not have to be one way. There is no hate for one side or the other. I know a lot of this seems like there is, but there doesn't need to be. My only discomfort is when people can't acknowledge the racist condemnations of certain things, and it kind of throws me because it's like, well, where is your mind at that you're okay with this, right? Like, how are you looking at my kid if you're okay with statues being put up during the Jim Crow era as a reminder? It wasn't for history; it was to let people like you're just giving the wrong message. And one of the statues, and I'm gonna end on this. And one of the statues that they wanted to put up, it had a slave mother and a baby giving it to the slave owner's wife and kissing the man that's going to war as a Confederate army and saying that we're wishing you well to come back. So you're telling me the mother was giving the black child over to the slave owner that's going off to war so he can win the war and come back and still enslave them? Make it make sense, bro. This was on the statue. That's misleading. Take that shit down. That's fucking ridiculous. That's fucking ridiculous. That makes no sense. Just take the. Imagine this. Imagine it reversed. Imagine black people owned white people as slaves. How would this go? Imagine it reversed. Imagine your white child being given over to the slave owner, kissing a black man on the cheek, saying, "Go win that war for me so you can come back and enslave me some more." I mean, that's it. That's all I'm saying, people. Just be considerate. We're all people. It doesn't matter black, white, mixed, yellow, Asian, Indian. It doesn't matter. I feel like some people need to be treated with dignity and some type of respect or a mutual understanding. That's what I talked about last podcast. There needs to be a mutual understanding of respect. And if you think what is going on with ICE is okay, like I'm fine with getting illegal immigrants out of the country. That's not the problem. The problem is these people aren't being treated with dignity at all, as if they're not humans. Not everybody being tackled to the ground are criminals. If we were serious about reform on the criminal system, how about you lock up 76% of the people who commit the crimes? Males. Let's get rid of us. Ship us off. I'm not going to say a specific race, but obviously it's not black males because we don't make up enough of the population. Be well. I hope that the whole point of this is to have constructive conversations about things without being offended or being mad or have an understanding. And if we can't have an understanding, I don't want to have a discussion. And that goes out to two specific people that I went to high school with that I'm not going to name. I don't want to have a discussion with you anymore because it gets nowhere. There's no understanding. I could put myself in someone else's shoes and understand. And if you can't do the same, I wish you well. And yeah, that's that. In closing, is there anything you would like to add, Braden? I don't know. I think that was a little. This part was a tad bit personal, bro. It was a little, if you couldn't tell, it kind of upset me. It broke my heart. It broke my heart because I wanted to have both of them on the show, and it broke my heart the fact that it's only one way. It's not a mutual understanding. Like I don't hate Trump. I don't like the guy. And one of the main reasons is because I lost my job. But again,
It's a pretty valid reason not to like
that's a
somebody.
valid reason, right? I'm an American citizen who was working very hard to get where I'm at and got crushed by a fucking guy who's not even a part of the administration anymore. It's like, are you shitting me? Like, but hey, whatever. Fuck Elon. So, but whatever, man. Yeah, that's it. Stay tuned. Next pod, we will have a friend of mine on talking about the travels of Colombia, Brazil. That's going to be great. We're going to have another friend on to talk about his car collection. I cannot wait. We're actually going to show that. So I'm actually looking forward to that episode. And yeah, there's going to be a few things that I'm excited to talk about. But the next part, we're going to talk about like the infrastructure, the stock market, how tariffs are doing, how the market is reacting to these tariffs. Yeah, there's more to come. There's more to come. So you guys stay tuned. This is great. Be well. Deuces.